Yep, definitely. So one of the big questions we get, and I mean, the tech ops team is big. I mean, we have a lot of people on the team that the community might be familiar with, like Thundercleese, who's over there taking pictures, CHS, now yourself, and there's probably several others that they're Roadkill, which is Eric.
Yep.
So people have interacted with all kinds of different tech ops guys. Your team's pretty big, but you're also very diverse. So if we had you and Christian on, we could definitely say that you guys don't do the same thing on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. It's sort of a, we can all do the same job. But if you were to tell me to put up an entire game stack, you know, right now, I'd probably take 30 minutes to an hour longer than Christian would. But if you were to tell Christian, hey, you know, we need a security audit on such and such an environment, or you know, where something's there's some anomalies on this box, he might take a little longer to go research a few things, and it's that kind of thing. We're all really good at what we do generally, and then some of us are even better at what we do specifically. But it's good to have that kind of team because, you know, we can all share the generic responsibilities, and then we have a subject matter expert for, you know, the more difficult ones.
So a couple of things. Well, one thing you mentioned was a server stack. To us, that we take that kind of thing for granted. We know what that means. But when you say server stack, what would that mean to like a player? Or
I mean, there's just so much. There is, honestly, from starting up your game to getting in and playing, there are loads of machines. And beyond them just coming up and doing their thing and running, like, and I think that's the part a lot of people take for granted. They're constantly having little errors and issues. Not to throw anyone under the bus. But you know, there's little quirks and things that sometimes we don't discover in dev or in QA, and something might go wrong. So machines are going down, machines are coming back up. Everything is just automatically scaling and adjusting to its environment. Yeah, and we're there constantly making sure all the metrics are good. You know, we're not straying too far into yellow. We're definitely not into red, and we're all happy in that green medium. From login servers to security servers to character databases to the game server itself. I mean, the list just goes on and on. There's a whole lot of moving parts behind the scenes is what I'm getting at. And we're all like nerdy little watchmakers with tiny, tiny gears.
Those little watchmakers.
They're all little tiny brass cogs, and they're delicate and unique snowflakes. And they act that way. Sometimes they're very pretentious and annoying.
The services.
Yeah. Definitely not certain people. I'm looking at Breaker, not you guys.
I know, looking at
Breaker's awesome.
Shifty
Breaker
eyes.
is awesome.
He lets me have candy.
I heard about that. I hope I have some of that when we leave.
Careful.
Breaker,
no, he's going to get some.
Come back here.
Sometimes it's a trap, depending on his mood.
But we also open up some of the questions out to the community as well to see.
Thought we'd start with the more straightforward question for a security engineer such as yourself. Have you ever got hacked? Have you ever been hacked?
Personally, no. For any people looking to hire me in the future, absolutely not. That's a little speculative because my career goes back a ways. While I've been at Red 5, definitely not, which is not to offer a challenge to anyone out there. But one of the things that's kind of interesting about that is we have been deploying to a lot of different environments lately and seeing environment-specific hacks. For example, language-specific brute forces. It's very strange seeing wide characters or Unicode characters or like different alphabets show up in my logs. It's really weird seeing how targeted attacks come from different regions. Like here in the US, you mostly see just random people trying to get into accounts, brute forcing that way. across the world, you see a lot of government-targeted attacks, or you'll see specific markets trying to be attacked. Russia and Eastern Europe like to go for payment services and things like that. It's really neat to sort of almost profile, depending on where you are, in what manner you're trying to be, or they're trying to attack you. It's I don't know. It's
scary.
It's interesting if you're a
afraid.
nerd. It's interesting if you're a nerd. Otherwise, it might not be interesting. But yeah, most of the time when I get hacked or otherwise compromised, it's just a silly mistake. Long ago, in days of yore, we set up a firewall and had to flush all the rules, but forgot to change a default rule set from deny all to allow all. Suddenly, all the rules were gone. Everything was getting denied. We thought we'd been compromised, but it was just us being stupid.
Oh, no.
Wow.
Honest mistake. Honest mistake.
Quote,
But that
that's
was-
being stupid.
That was many.
Ram 2015.
That was many years ago. I'm much better now. I don't have to drive to data centers anymore. It was when I was young and naive.
Oh my goodness. Now they're talking about my PC. Can you hack my PC, make it derpy? Corrected, even more derpy. Thank
There you
I appreciate that correction.
Derpier. Make it faster.
Oh my goodness.
I forget we've got the whole community going on like at the screen right there.
Yeah,
It's
we have,
interesting
like,
to see the reactions live.
We have the dual panel chats. Now go allow all.
As default.
If anyone just got dropped from Firefall, I'll be right back.
Interestingly, I worked for a company that did like VPN, software as a service, and there was one guy that was doing he was managing their tunnels, and he went through, and for some reason, it was a trading company. For some reason, during the course, like in the middle of the day, around peak trading hours, he's looking through all his rules, and he's like, "Oh, there's an allow all in there. Well, I should change that right now." And he changed it to deny all, and all their tunnels broke. He didn't realize he was changing the rules for the VPN tunnels, not the...
Weird, all our internal traffic just went away. Did everyone take lunch? Or?
It's just like, call us up, and it was just like, look at just a huge network of yellow, and I'm like, so what'd you guys do?
It happens, and then you hide under your desk or take a long walk off a short pier, and you just move on, change your name, and hope it never happens again. What are you gonna do?
Every time.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, if I could just count the resumes I've had to redo with a new name and address.
Oh my.
5.
I have 7 passports in my pocket.
I just go home, take a deep, deep breath, and put another notch.
You made it, buddy.
Time to start again, Roland.
Other questions? Yes.
So this one was personally for me. What made you want to become a security engineer? Because there's certain careers you don't know really are a thing. So what made you really drawn to that path?
A lack of friends?
Wow. All right.
Like a friend's job, security engineer. All right.
Does anyone have a little violin we could start?
We have a little one.
There you go.
Boom.
Oh, when I was 14
Nailed
or
it.
15, I was the nerdy kid. Parents bought a computer, and the first thing I did was figure out how to make it go. I figured out how to, at this point, I think it was Windows 3.1, I was writing dial-up scripts, dialing into random stuff, and slowly learning how things worked, how things broke, and I don't know, maybe it's something internal, but how things broke was really interesting.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I just kept going, and thankfully didn't get arrested too many times on felonious charges. So here I am.
Too many times. Do you have any tales to share with the clown? You don't have to.
Hang on, I'm counting the years. Statute of limitations here.
What has been declassified?
Yeah, exactly. I have a chart in the back of my head that keeps the statute of limitations on certain crimes. And a long time ago, I will say one thing that it's all in the past now. Thanks to Double Jeopardy. A long time ago, we had a thing called a beige box, which I won't encourage anyone to make because A, it's outdated, and B, it'll get you in trouble. And there was this phone line way out in public, and we thought, man, wouldn't it be great to tap into that because it's in public and no one can do it. And we did, and we got chased by cops, and they came to our house, and it was a bad time all around, and
Rebel nerd.
yeah.
Damn.
Bam.
And then they asked him to work for the Department of Defense.
This is covered. Oh shit. Oh shit. Stream
But
cuts.
They gave him an Audi R8.
Man, if only. Instead, I just got this Timex.
Awesome.
But yeah, there's been a couple times like that. But thankfully, back then there wasn't a career option. You know, you were a 30, 40-year-old Linux administrator or Unix administrator at that time who'd been doing it since college. So there wasn't a place where I could go and, you know, there wasn't CTF tournaments online that I could just go practice with. That's how anyone mid-30s and older that didn't go the academic route is probably in the same boat. Like that's how you had to learn. Yeah, I mean there weren't aisles and aisles of bookshelves. There wasn't even Google. So you had to.
I remember when Google didn't exist.
Yeah, right. I mean, people don't realize that you couldn't just look stuff up. You had to do it, and so we did. And sometimes it worked out, and sometimes it didn't. But like I said, not too many arrests and no felonious charges, so we're all good.
That's awesome. You figured out what you wanted to do at an early age.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's mostly just sort of the round peg in a round hole. You know, that's just where I fit. It was less figuring it out and more, well, guess I'm doing this. No one wants to hang out, so. But yeah, it worked out in that I like what I do, so. It's
awesome.
Or I learned to like it at least.
It grew on you.
Yeah, exactly. Alta Vista, man, we're going back.
Mastermind of Pirate Bay.
Whew.
Man, speaking of, oh, dude, the first time I got a 56K V90 US Robotics.
Oh boy, the V90.
I saved and saved. It was like a whole new
Phone
level.
lines only go up to 53.
But it was the theoretical.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, gosh.
If they upgraded my lines, I could hit such speeds.
I got 2 modems and shotgun the connection.
Remember dual channel ISDN? Bonding your ISDNs?
Oh,
Man,
my goodness.
The times we had.
Budley, all you people, old people remembering. Yeah, I know. We should move on.
I'm like,
I'll come back in tomorrow morning to see if my MP3's downloaded successfully.
You mean WAV file?
There you
I
go.
don't think
Wave
MP3 codec exists.
the next one is, have you done any white hatting with regards to the game's physics engine or damage functions to ensure there aren't any unforeseen God mode vulnerabilities?
I have not yet. However, in my interview, that was actually when I got hired here. That was one of the things that got brought up. A while ago, I participated in one of those CTFs that I mentioned, where someone had developed an MMO. Very, very basic, but similar idea. And how you had to get the flag in that challenge was to hack the MMO. Analyze network traffic, and say, you know, I'm jumping. All right, his status is airborne. And basically intercept the traffic and just keep saying, oh, status is still airborne over and over and over. So you're essentially flying. And my current boss thought that was interesting. I got hired, and now I really want to get into the game and do some of that and see, like, oh, what can I, you know, maybe I can intercept network traffic and say I'm clipping, say I'm invisible, or I'm behind cover, or, you know, what can I actually do with the mechanics of the game without actually being in the game. And, you know, a lot of games have things like aim bots that are just basically just applications that sit on the end just like a normal game client would, intercept that traffic and react to it. And I really want to get in there. I really do. But yeah, was, believe it or not, that was natural. I just accidentally did that.
Smithers.
Yeah. But I definitely want to get in and mess with the guts of it. I've been I've been through some of the code, doing a little static code analysis, but I want to dive in and play. And next time everyone shouts, aimbot hacker, it'll be me, and I'll go, haha, I work here, sucks to be you.
Wait a minute. No, I don't like this idea. I don't like this idea at all. Then we look really bad, because then they're going to say we have to cheat at our own game to compete with regular players.
To be fair, a couple of these guys have probably schooled me a time or two in the game.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm good at coding, but I'm bad at in-game stuff. That's why I need to be the security engineer.
I don't think I've won a duel yet. You guys cheat.
It's true. That's why they hired me, to make sure these guys are playing fair.
Oh, I'm sure most of them play fair.
Mark is saying the best hack he did was with the phone company. I changed a guy's home phone to a payphone.
Are you? Is this already a concluded event? Is this still under investigation? Have you made
What a
sure
troll.
you're man?
That's like, wow, I can't even comprehend.
Why would
How
you
you
do
do
that? Why would you admit that online? Are you at least over SSL right now? Is that? Come on, man. But yeah, doing stuff like that was amazing. I will give him. Put your hand up against the screen, and we'll. There you go.
High five.
I'll fight you, Diesel. I'll fight you.
That's hardcore.
Long time ago.
These guys are my favorite.
I'm not going back to jail.
Man, I could just sit and watch this all day.
Firefall
I know,
up,
right?
getting people arrested. The next one, which is the fun one.
The fun
Oh, the
one.
fun
You
one.
like? Would you consider a job protecting the Office of Personal Management, OPM?
I would not. Because that would be so bad for my reputation, it being hacked, every other day. The compromise that they discovered recently was what, like a year old or something? But B, also, I know I saw the picture on Twitter, including my favorite quote.
Oh, yes.
The
yes.
common decency, common sense, therefore I could never stand for public office. And that goes for working for the man as well. I'm too honest, I'm too decent, I couldn't do it. But yeah, man, reading that
Morals.
story, yeah, right?
Morals.
Reading that story about how they were investigating another attempt at a compromise and found, oh, it is already compromised, but it's a different one that we just didn't know about at all. It makes me so sad. So on the one hand, I'd love to go in and be like, yeah, I could totally clean all this up for, $10 million.
There it is again.
Exactly. But on the other, it's like, A, I wouldn't get it. B, I'd have to work for the man. And C, I probably don't clear for any of that,
Oh.
sadly.
They're like, there was this one time he hacked into the public phones and
That was somebody else. That was one of the
True,
viewers,
true, true,
okay?
he talked to someone who hacked into the phones.
I'd love to see that. Well, we'd like to hire you, but thunk. These are reasons why we can't.
Dang.
But yeah, it's definitely OPM and all the other fun stuff happening in the public sector is always fun to keep up with, but it's never something I could find myself actually working with. It would be depressing.
Can you fix the audio of Shimmercore?
Oh, I was wondering if that was going to be asked today.
Firerizer asks us every week.
I think I've recognized that name. Maybe
And-
he asked that in the forums too.
He most certainly. Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't been able to prep a fix in general. That's one that's bugging people a lot.
Sadly, it's.
Can we add more bridges? Can you add more bridges? Do you know how to
I
use
mean-
Forge?
Once I get the all my static code analysis and my bots ready, I'll field an army of bridge building aim bots. It'll be good. You'll love it, I swear.
Bridges on bridges.
There you go.
That'd be like a double-decker bridge, just for
Man.
that traffic.
It'll
There's
just
no
it'll be
congestion anymore.
it'll be architectural wonder.
Yes.
That's what it'll.
So I have a question. What is your favorite? What's your favorite thing about Firefall?
I mean, I don't want to be seen as
Hacking it.
I don't want to be seen as pandering, but honestly, the community, man. I'm sure a lot of these guys will remember the SSL nightmare. You know, we upgraded.
Oh yeah. For you guys that had Windows XP,
Yeah.
you couldn't log into the game after we upgraded SSL.
Yeah. So that was me.
Well, he broke it and fixed it.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry and you're welcome. You know, create the poison, sell them the cure, that kind of thing. But yeah, honestly, one of the funnest things about that was we had a user who I'd never spoken to, and as far as I know, doesn't have any sort of relationships within Firefall as a business, but just emailed us and said, oh, hey, you know, I've run into a similar problem. AWS is recommending this fix. I saw this on some of the Microsoft TechNet forums. And man, I wish I could remember his name. If you're watching, I apologize. I don't remember your handle. But we actually had a little email exchange, and it's stuff we were working on here already. And then AWS, I think, came out with their fix a month later after we had already gone through all that trouble. It was terrible.
Mm.
But I just thought it was great that we have a community that A, is, you know, technically proficient, and B, is nice enough to reach out and say, oh, hey, you know, I also happen to work in this industry. Here's what we're doing to mitigate the problems. Let me know if I can help.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, it's, like I said, I don't want to be seen as pandering, but that moment was probably the point that created the answer to that question. Like, we have an awesome community.
Mm-hmm.
Technically adept and not horrible people.
One of the questions I saw in chat earlier, and you may not be able to answer this directly, but someone asked why we use texture streaming for the client as opposed to like putting all those clients or putting all the textures in, like bundling that with the client.
Right.
That's mostly due to like getting you in. That's like one of the reasons for that is like getting you into the game faster when you first download.
Yeah.
Some people may not ever download all of the textures. What the game does is it's going to say, hey, you're on high, I'm going to start streaming in high. You'll never get the low, medium.
Yeah.
You know, if you're on medium, you'll never get the high textures, and that's a huge savings in download client size. If you're playing on medium and you don't need the high or ultra, you know, textures.
It is outside of my scope a little bit, but I've heard the conversations, and one thing I will mention is it's a weird phenomenon. It's one of those holy wars. You know, like some people swear by doing it one way, and some people swear by doing it another way, and you're never going to change those opinions. Mm-hmm. It's a weird thing to watch, but yeah, I prefer, you know, like you said, if you're not going to need it, why am I going to waste time and bandwidth?
Yeah.
You know, downloading all these, whether it be textures or anything.
It was,
so I'm in that camp.
Yeah, and it was also one of the bigger decisions made when it comes down to like, you know, this is a free-to-play game. First impressions, you know, you want people to get in there and try it. You know, you want to try and hook them right away.
Right.
So that's part of the decision there as well, where it's like you don't want a multiple-hour client download. You want to get that as small as possible to get people in and excited and keep them going. So
and that's the thing as well. Like, and we're probably going to sound like old people again.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. But when you went out and bought at the time a $40 game, believe it or not,
yeah.
And unboxed it, you expect, you know, you paid good money, you want all these fantastical textures that are going to push your machine to the max, but, you know, when you're downloading a free-to-play and you're streaming everything, you just, like you said, you want to get in, start playing the game, and that's, you know, that's how we make that magic happen.
Yeah, barrier to entry is like,
exactly.
that's one of the, you know, discussions we have, especially as an online-only free-to-play game. It's not a box.
Absolutely.
So that's, you know, it's all considerations made not only by the technical teams, but even by the, you know, the people that are concerned about business and such. So that's a big, like, company-wide discussion that goes on. And
it's, yeah, we've sort of come full circle. Like when you were saying earlier on, people sort of take for granted that things are just up and working. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those things, I mean, like I said, it's out of my scope, so even I would never think of that, you know? But
Yeah.
it's one of those things that goes on behind the scenes as a business decision, and it's being talked about probably more than the people talking about it even want to.
Hmm. Yep.
The last question was actually relating to your job as a security engineer. Since you did say that it is different becoming a security engineer nowadays than it used to be, would you have any recommendations for people who are interested in getting into it, or?
One of my default answers to that, when people ask me directly, would be, if you have to ask me how to do it, it might not be the industry for you. And that, I mean, it's kind of dickish and elitist, but it's not.
That's mean.
Frank's hurt. He's like, I want to be a security.
That's mean.
It's not to be. The answer is not to be mean. It's more that, as I said earlier, I came up differently. I came up when there was no Google, there was no Amazon, there was no aisles and aisles of books on the topic. You just had to go out and do it. Nowadays, it's both easier and harder. You know, there's resources out there, there's information out there, but at the same time, there's just so much. And when people ask, it's because, you know, they need that direction. But still, the best answer I could give is just, if it's what you want to do, just do it. Go break some stuff. I mean, you've got CPU power these days that's cheap. You know, you can probably go to a flea market and buy a $25 486, stick Linux on it, start breaking stuff, and just go to town. You don't even have to get arrested anymore. It's a
bonus.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it, it's something you want to do. I would, because I'm old school and I'm an old fart, learn C, learn Linux, and do Gentoo or Slackware. Don't listen to what all those kids tell you about Ubuntu, that you can stick the CD in and become elite Linux hacker right off the bat.
I like Ubuntu, but that's not for like tinkering. That's not for.
Don't listen to them.
Now, I like it just to be like, I want to experience like Linux, really.
It is.
And I can get in there and experience Linux.
I will say, like, the holy war of Linux distributions aside, if you need to get a Linux environment up and running, pop the CD in, press go, and you're done. It's great. But for those of you that want to learn, you know, go through everything, man. All the failures. You don't even have to stay up all night for your kernel to compile anymore, you know? Like, you can do that in like 30 minutes now.
Breaker's just shaking his head looking whoa.
By the way, I am the guy that gets made fun of in tech ops for still running Gentoo and doing all that. But you have to, man. If you want to learn how the kernel works, how are you going to do that by never seeing a kernel? If you want to learn how to exploit a kernel, how are you going to do it by dropping in a CD and saying, I run Linux now? If you want to be into security and information security, you have to learn everything from the ground up. And it's a long and arduous and painful, but very, very, very rewarding process.
Yeah, I think that, you know, having gone through, I actually have, my degree is in network and communications management. So having gone to school for it, it's night and day, because I kind of gravitated towards computers and tinkering with stuff, and only Windows. So I'm probably not as tech savvy. So, but when I got my first PC, I broke it, and I constantly broke it and tried to figure out how to fix it, kind of thing. But that was mostly because I was afraid my parents were going to kill me. But I mean, tinkering with the PC, and that gained my interest. But it's interesting seeing people that go there just because it's like, this is a field that pays money. So I'm going to go to school and learn how to be a network engineer, and then you're like, okay, but if you're not like interested, like super interested in that stuff, it's going to be tough to get through that. I mean, you can do it. It's just going to be very tough. Like, it kind of has to be something that you're like partially a hobby, in a sense. So it's definitely not for everyone.
I mean, I think it's like that in every industry as well. There are times you can get into something because, you know, it pays well, or your friends do it, and you'll achieve, you know, this level. But if it's something you love doing, and it's something that drives you, and when you get home from doing it, you go, oh, now I can pick up the hobby that's the exact same thing I was working on, but, you know, it's mine. Yeah. And you genuinely love it, then you're going to get up to here, you know? Like, and that's not to disparage people that just go to school to learn it, because that's the moneymaker now because, you know, learning is learning. But you have to have that drive.
That,
you know?
that it just pushes you further. It
Yeah.
makes you that much better at
The
it.
school will definitely give you structure and give you the right information and guide you. But if you don't have that passion for it, you know, you can be good, but maybe you'll never be as good as you could be. Yeah, that's.
So, dude, I started when it was DOS only. All right, look, in
There you
those
go.
days, I was a console kiddie. So I was sitting there playing my NES. You know, like. I didn't really get into PCs until, honestly, 95. I mean, I had a 286, but...
I think that's probably about when I really started. I think 95 was when I got my first Linux distribution, and I put it on a 486 SX. Man,
Because, like, what are these letters and
I remember
numbers?
my first computer was like a 98 Macintosh.
there you go.
Played the cat and mouse game and Firefall. Ski.
So is that the one with the trees and
Yeah, you had to
the,
like
the little slalom?
Yeah,
Oh
and then
my
the snow
goodness.
ones.
Wasn't that the demo game on every computer in the store?
I don't know.
Oh man, now I'm gonna have to look that up.
I have it on my phone now. They have it on the App Store, so I was like nostalgic.
How times have changed. It used to be the demo game on all the hot new PCs, and now it's on your phone.
Yep.
Well, I feel old.
Some of the people over on YouTube are talking about news, updates, when's the next patch, just so that, you know, we're trying to cater to what you guys are talking about in a little bit. We're going to start talking about itemization starting next week, and then we have a bit of a blog schedule that's going on. Update, we still don't know when the update is going to hit the servers. It will definitely be on PTS first, and you guys will be able to try it out on PTS and provide your feedback. That's going to include probably the advanced progression, the itemization changes, the battle frame upgrades, how those all work. So that's all that news is coming, and then it's going to be on PTS as well. And we may not get all the news out by the time it gets on PTS, but that's okay. We'll see how that all goes. It's all, but we have no set dates just yet. What are you looking at? Spoil us, please. I gave a spoiler earlier.
Some of these comments are amazing, man.
They're fantastic.
Someone mentioned a Packard Bell. That was what my 486 was.
Oh my
too.
goodness.
Yay for not being able to upgrade any hardware because it's all built in.
So,
It's like the laptop of desktops.
the first PC I tinkered with was a Windows 95 PC. The first one I got when I got into gaming was a Compaq. I bought a Compaq. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
I got it came with an onboard Radeon card, and I bought a Voodoo 3 to put in it. I put the Voodoo 3 in, and it doesn't recognize it, so I call up Compaq support. How do I disable my onboard video card? I'm assuming I have to get into the BIOS. And they literally said, your computer doesn't have a BIOS. And I was like, okay. Like, this conversation's over.
I'm just gonna slowly back away.
I'm like, I just started this stuff and I know more than you. Well,
It happens. It's sad, but it happens.
it is really sad.
You got to look at it on the other side, the entertaining side. Not sad, entertaining. Well, at least I'm better than that guy.
Alrighty. I think we have some community events.
Yes, we have two this
Two?
weekend. We
Technically
have
3, actually.
3 now? All right.
4.
Wait, are you counting Pez punting?
I'm counting Pez punting and Kangaroos.
Okay.
Oh, we're
ladder
just starting to
challenge.
count. We have 2, 3, 4.
That's right.
It's just throwing
We just keep
five.
going.
Sesame Street up in here.
Kangaroos is ongoing as well as Pez punting.
Yes.
But we have 2 new community events this
Mew.
week. 2 new ones. Carmageddon by Sexy Baba at June 20th at 2 p.m. EST, from my understanding. And it's pretty much a duke it out resource hauler. I think it's 3 or 6 people per
Yeah,
team.
it's a squad of 3, I believe,
Yeah.
and then you can like blow each other up. So you have like the driver and the gunners.
I'm gonna try and get in on that one. Actually,
You should.
They have
You
a
should.
video too to hype you up.
Nice. Reminds me of that Interstate 76 game from way back.
Oh God.
There you go.
Yeah, I saw that when you mentioned it earlier, and I want to jump in on that.
Yeah.
I won't have a dev tag because I'm stealthy like that, and I'm ashamed of my performances. But
I own it. I mean, Pez, you're terrible. I expect you guys to be better than me. I expect nothing less of you.
you can always do the snooty approach. Sorry, guys, I was too busy working to get good.
It's too busy saving stuff from blowing
But that is
up.
honestly true. I mean,
It is, to be fair. We don't get to play as much as we would like.
but I do pop in every now and then. But yeah, there are some prizes. I forget what I sponsored for that event. Is it on the picture?
Yes.
It's on the picture.
The picture. I see an
We need
MGB. I
pictures.
can't see exactly which. I think the Bumblebee.
That guy's my favorite.
All right, you got the
Blame
Bumblebee
Pez.
MGB.
Some VIP.
Oscar's your favorite?
And glider pad. I don't know if it's Icarus or. It's one of the legendary.
Oh,
glider.
so it's either Icarus or Celestial. It's probably Celestial.
Yeah, it's celestial.
Probably.
That sounds like it was right.
Probably.
I hope it's celestial. Okay, yeah, it is.
There we go.
Boom.
Oh, that's the Assault Championship. Yep. So that's on Sunday,
Yes. That is Sunday at
hosted by FryPod.
5 p.m. EST. Or
EDT.
EDT.
We're in daylight.
Sorry. I'm bad with times.
We're in daylight.
I could
But yeah,
Pretty
it's
hard.
it's it should be that's pretty cool. So that's like an assault only, like 1v1 duel. So bring your assaults. I think there if you go to the thread, it's in the events subforum. There are some rules on what you can't bring. There are some restrictions. So just for the sake of it being fair, and it seems like everyone's agreeing to it. And the thing with these community events is that whoever the organizer is going to set the rules, and pretty much if you sign up, that those are the rules you're kind of agreeing to. If I feel like they're unfair rules, we probably won't even sponsor them. But the rules is the rules, and we're going by what those guys are putting out there. So please be respectful of the rules that these event organizers put forth. Jesus.
Oh man.
Sorry. Alrighty. And then those are all of our events?
Yes, for this week.
All right.
And you can see more events we have upcoming on the community events section on the forums,
Yes.
as well as proposed ones. Those are fun.
The proposal, yeah, some of them, yeah, I feel bad when I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I feel bad, but sometimes
best.
it's just, you have to ask the right questions. And,
We also have the Strategy 101 for this week.
Oh, this week's Strat 101.
Yes. How do you fight against a group of enemies? Single target, aim for headshots, AoE all the enemies at once, point your gun in a direction, hope enemies die.
Well, Graham, I think you should answer that.
The latter. Point your gun in a direction and hope they die. That's
Spray and pray.
yeah. That's pretty much.
So you play a Dreadnought.
I will essentially be either the farthest guy from the battlefield or the one just finger on W, spinning the mouse, constantly
Space
clicking.
check.
Switching to my Firecat, what was the question again? Yeah. I press Inferno Dash. That's one of my favorite abilities we have, is Inferno Dash.
I see a lot of people, I say abusing it because mostly I die a lot, but I do see a lot of people using it and having a good time, so I might have to adjust my strategy from spray and pray to, actual tactics one day.
Yeah, well,
One day.
with the combat upgrades, for sure. But, yeah, I played through some of those, and there's some really exciting and interesting stuff in there. Like, I think people are going to be very, very excited about that. There's still a lot of tuning and tweaking, and missing effects and textures. So, like one weapon, the feedback I gave yesterday was, well, this is probably largely due to the effects not being there, but I can't tell what my engagement range is.
There was I think it was in PTS a while ago, where there was a default frame that just wasn't set. So if you just skipped past choosing your battle frame, you'd just be invisible because there was nothing there.
Whip.
It was great. It was I think one of our other tech ops guys just abused us with that for a good amount of time. It was
Have to talk about ethics in this in the office place.
It was fun for a short time, and then we all just got sad. We took our ball and went home.
Yes. What else? I don't know how I'd approach those situations, really. I mean, I feel like it depends on what frame I'm using. If I'm playing a Raptor or a Nighthawk, I'm going for the big guy first.
Yep.
Going for the big guy first.
Same.
Headshots all around. That's just how I play. I headshot every single time.
Yeah. Most of the time when I'm playing, I try to stay away from anyone else, so I don't ruin their game. I'll try and stay far away, do the same headshots. I like the recon frames mostly, just because it gets me out of the action where I die. Long distance headshots all day, every day.
Alrighty. And then I believe since we are towards the end of the show, we should end it off with the same thing we do every week, which is we have a caption on Facebook of some behind the scenes stuff. And since Scott Dude's on vacation, we chose this one
So you couldn't say no.
particularly so he couldn't say no, and I didn't have to worry about overriding him. So,
Was it better to ask forgiveness than permission?
yes, that's the old saying. Although I don't necessarily agree with it. So, our caption is of some behind the scenes work last week. Do we have that up? Is Knife Lady OS online?
Boop, 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 boop. I'm terrible at startup, by the way. I wish I
You
could
need to
just
come up with something. I mean, this is.
I know.
It's been a
I know.
month now.
It's been a month, I know.
It's been longer than a
Sorry.
month.
Knife Lady OS is online. I see Brad. This is where I keep all my secret knives in case Brad interferes. This is true, by the way. Day 6, and they still think I'm just a box.
Fun fact: those crates are actually what we store the battle frames in. I think the two stacked there those are the assaults. One of them's for the boots, and the rest is for the top piece.
True story.
It's also where they put tech ops.
Here
from
we
the
have
bad.
2 employees hard at work. Holy
Getting the
crap,
box.
the office is haunted by Skaw-Dude of Christmas past.
Yes, he is of Christmas past.
Of course, there's only one.
Brad, get out of the corner. And here we have our sound team. Ooh, that was weird. And here we have our sound team in their natural habitat. Brad, photobomb.
It's kind of
Wonder
like
what
Archer
they
smoke bomb.
have Wonder what they have in those boxes over there. This is gonna be a good prank. I put a real Arana in those boxes. And that is all.
Awesome. Awesome. Very well.
Seriously, Miles, nobody puts Brad in the corner.
Nobody puts Brad in the corner.
A plus.
Yes, that's a great one right there. Alrighty, guys. Well, to recap, next week we're gonna have a blog that's gonna cover itemization, and next week's guest is gonna be Cloud Chaser, who is a systems designer who specifically worked on itemization, and he does rewards in other areas of systems. But so we'll have him on, and yeah, we should have a very good discussion about itemization. I think there's some interesting changes in there. We already hinted at there's going to be an auxiliary weapon slot added, which you could put a melee weapon or grenades in there, which should be really cool. And yeah, I'm excited for you guys to see this. I'm excited for these changes, so we'll see that. All right, well, Mika, Graham, thank you for your time, man. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Reminiscing about the old days of networking and gaming and PCs.
Generally being old.
Generally being old. Mika, thanks for being Christian.
Mew.
You
I mean, mew.
We gotta work on that
Mew.
goatee though.
How do
I'll
Vikings
try.
meow? Alrighty, guys. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Welcome to the Ares Initiative, pilot. You are an assault, reconnaissance, extraction specialist. You are humanity's greatest hope. The melding has transformed the Earth. The Chosen harass our strongholds while bandits take advantage of the chaos, pushing us to the edge.